here's my audience. And I have my dog as another person because I only live with 2 people. According to Monterey Behavioral Health, social media has become more prevalent in our everyday lives. The average screen time on these sites is 2 hours and 20 minutes per day, which accounts to more than 1/12 of our lives. With the rapid increase of social media apps, the question of whether they're good for us is raised. It's important to look at both sides of this debate. Those in favor of social media claim that it allows for more interconnectedness with family and friends, that it reduces the stigma around mental health and supports other social changes, and that it promotes creativity. Those who oppose the use of social media apps may argue that it leads to isolation, worsened mental health for those who use it, and loss of individual opinion. After weighing the pros and cons of social media use and conducting my own research, it's clear that the negatives are more significant than the positives. One argument for social media is that it has allowed its users to expand their communities, stay in touch with friends, and connect with people over shared interests and experiences. As times change, so do the norms of friendship and communication. So many of our relationships are made and maintained by the everyday back and forth that social media apps allow us to have. 64% of teenagers, in a study done by Pew Research, say they've made new friends on online platforms. In addition, 83% of teenagers say that social media allows them to feel more connected to their friends, since they have access to information of what happens in their everyday lives. So, not only are social media platforms a common way to make friends, but they're also a good way to maintain their friendships. On the other hand, this interconnectedness has led to an increasing isolation and false idea of friendship. Especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, social media apps were a great way to stay connected. It has become quite concerning though, since being tied to our online worlds have prevented us from interacting with people face to face. In a survey conducted by NPR, people who reported spending the most time on social media also reported feeling the most isolated. This study cannot nail down causation though. It's possible that people go online to feel less isolated, but it's also possible that spending a lot of time online makes people feel isolated. Either way, it's evident that spending too much time online can be detrimental to your real-world ties. It requires in-person contact to trigger the hormones that relieve stress, make you feel happy, and more positive. In addition, the increased use of social media for connecting with people has led to a false idea of friendship. Now, friendship can be defined as someone that you interact with through likes or a follower count. Likes and comments can be easily mistaken for friendship, and receiving these affirmations becomes gratifying in the wrong way. Dr. Maddox from RMIT University says, while the performance and norms around friendships has changed over time, social bonds and our need for them have not. It's hard to mistake the difference between validation from loose associations of people with the validation and acknowledgement you receive from people who know and love you. This evidence is verifying the importance of face-to-face interactions with real friends in comparison to the online interactions with people you hardly know. Maintaining these close networks in real life is much better for your well-being, and social media makes it harder to do so. A second argument for social media is that it's created a safe space for advocating for mental health and other social changes. Social networks like Instagram and Twitter serve as an effective tool for mental health awareness, since they've helped break down the 2 main barriers to care: stigma and the inability to recognize symptoms. The National Alliance on Mental Health talks about this in a 2021 article written by Margot Harris. For decades, the most common portrayals of mental health symptoms were from movies and TV shows, and they can be horribly drastic. For example, Grey's Anatomy features a woman with borderline personality disorder as being chronically unstable and manipulative. Since many mental illnesses are played at a drastic and unrealistic level, most people can't recognize symptoms in themselves. In comparison, social media allows for people to see what mental illnesses can look like from day to day. It allows for the conversation surrounding mental health to increase, which leads people to becoming more comfortable sharing their own stories. It decreases some of the stigma around mental health and also helps portray all different types of disorders and what they might look like in different people. On the other hand, and slightly ironic, social media has also been proven to be a factor of worsening mental health by increasing feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction with ourselves and our lives. According to McLean Hospital, social media has a reinforcing nature that activates the brain's reward center, releasing dopamine. So, online interactions, as well as likes and comments on posts, boosts our self-esteem and makes us feel like we belong. The need for that social reward causes comparisons though. Comparisons can be made in multiple ways. Looking at someone's profile who has thousands of followers, comments, and likes can make us feel like we're less worthy. Comparisons of personal lives can be made as well. When you go on an app and your homepage is full of vacation pictures, cute couples, and people's accomplishments and achievements, you can't help but compare, feel inferior, or wish you were in their shoes. In addition, social media can create a distorted lens on body image. It's very common today to see underweight women on the front pages of magazines, in movies, and plastered all over the internet. It creates an unhealthy image of what a body is supposed to look like, especially when we're in the era of filters and airbrushing. You can never trust what someone puts on the internet. Still, even if we're aware of the potential of photo manipulation, it's difficult to avoid feeling insecure about your own image. These comparisons of all sorts affect our thoughts, feelings, and emotional health negatively. A third argument for social media is that it's a great form of self-expression. Social media apps encourage new ways of thinking, new perspectives, and creative processes. A graduate student from Buffalo State College describes the creative process behind being an influencer in their master's project. They describe how content creation is made easier, and an average person with a creative idea has the ability to become recognized through the community that social media provides. Social media has facilitated creativity through allowing its users to experiment with text, photo, graphic, and video production in the area of content creation and being an influencer. In addition, putting your work on social media is a great way to become recognized, receive feedback, and go through creative processes. While social media does encourage creativity and new ways of thinking, it can also encourage a psychological concept called groupthink. According to the University of Berkeley, groupthink is when large groups of people tend to think alike and share the same views. Social media lets people share their views and express their beliefs, but it also makes it easier to be swayed by others. Social media lets people share. In smaller groups, there tends to be more variation in opinions, since you're not as focused on appealing to the majority, because there usually is none. In bigger groups, the individual perspective is drowned out, and people are more likely to conform to the majority opinion. In addition, mass circulation of misinformation manifests groupthink, since most people don't verify the credibility of a source before believing it and sharing it. Sharing it and interacting with content that revolves around the same political beliefs, ideas, and viewpoints causes your individual algorithm to cater to what it thinks you're interested in. Eventually, you will only be seeing one side of every argument or story, and you will become cemented in those beliefs. Because of this, social media can become extremely harmful. In conclusion, social media definitely has its positive effects, but its negative effects are more significant and dangerous. While it allows us to connect with our family and friends, it also makes us socially isolated and have a false sense of friendship. While it's allowed for a wider application of mental health issues, it's actually decreased the mental health of its users. It can allow for creativity and new perspectives, but the opposite is more common. So, the negatives of social media outweigh the positives.
Good job, Matt.